Well, campaigning in New Hampshire, former Vice President Joe Biden said he believes Republicans will find their way back to working across the aisle after President Trump is out of office.
I just think there is a way, and the thing will fundamentally change things, is with Donald Trump out of the White House. Not a joke. You will see an epiphany occur among many of my Republican friends. And it's already beginning this year in the House now. You've seen people that, in fact, were not willing to vote for any Democratic initiative, even if they agreed with it, because they didn't want to be the odd person out if it wasn't going to pass. There's no sense in getting politically beaten for something that's not going to happen. Let me put it another way. If we can't change it, we're in trouble. This nation cannot function without generating consensus.
Wow. So much there that I'm glad he said. But, Joe, is it possible the fever will break? Because a lot of these Republicans have put a lot of core values, have crossed them, really, in order to stay with Trump. Will it go away?
It can. It certainly can. And it's interesting that talking about consensus, talking about bipartisanship, sounds like a radical message. That's how bad things have gotten in 2019. But, Willie, if you get somebody who knows how Washington works, let's Bill Clinton, for instance. Bill Clinton was forced to support a lot of Republican initiatives that Bill Clinton didn't like because they were very popular. Everybody talked about the contract on America. Well, with contract with America, a lot of times we get a majority of Democrats voting for it because the way the issue was framed, they had no choice. Bill Clinton, after that, spent the rest of his term coming up with plans that Republicans could work with as well because he had governed for a very long time. And he also knew Washington, D.C. We've had people in the White House that haven't known how Washington works over the past 15, 20 years. And I think somebody like Biden actually has the ability to get things working in D.C. again. And I loved what he said at the end, which was, we have no choice. We're in trouble if we can't start working together again, Republicans and Democrats alike. That's a hopeful message. Americans want compromise. Americans want both sides talking with each other and working with each other, and that's Biden's message.
Yeah, and Biden was criticized by many progressives for saying that. Some people thinking he sounded naive in the age of Trump, thinking that all these Republicans who pledged fealty to the President of the United States over the last couple of years might actually come back and work together with Democrats someday. But if that's not possible, what are we doing here? And I think that's sort of the point that Joe Biden was trying to make. And as you say, he's been doing it for 36 years or so in the United States Senate and then as vice president. Amna, you were in Iowa last week talking to voters. It's 9 months out from those caucuses. I understand you interviewed Castro and O'Rourke, two candidates obviously running to become president. But what did you find as you talked to voters more broadly about what exactly they're looking for? Are they thinking about Donald Trump? Are they thinking about who can beat him? Or do they have specific issues that they want to sort of check boxes with each candidate? Or are they just sort of still testing the waters?
And it's really interesting because the head of the Iowa Democratic Party there basically said, look, we stopped trying to keep up with all the candidates coming through. Like, if we hear about them coming through and we can act like the welcome wagon, great. But the pace of candidates coming through Iowa is already working at such a clip. And the voters there that we talked to, who, by the way, consisted of also, self-identified Democrats, but also Republicans and independents who said that they would be open to voting for a Democrat this time, caucusing for a Democrat in the caucuses and potentially even voting down the line in a general election because they've become unhappy with the Republican Party so far. There are a few things they're looking for at this stage, right? And you know as well as I do, Iowa voters take themselves very seriously. Their responsibility is that first nominating contest. So they ask a lot of very specific questions that run the gamut. Health care, campaign finance, national security, immigration. I saw both O'Rourke and Castro at work in action, taking questions across all of those issues. But the number one thing that all the voters I talked to said that they want to see among the Democratic presidential candidates right now is civility. They said lessons learned from 2016. We want to see these guys talk about the issues. We want to see them talk about what they would do if they were elected. At the same time, there's a tension there because the next thing that they say they want to see in someone they could support is someone who could beat Donald Trump. And so those two things are going to have to come into conflict at some point. And right now, they're just kind of kicking the tires and seeing where everyone stands.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.